You're listening to the Energy is Love podcast.
The Energy is Love.
The Energy is the Love podcast.
The Energy is Love podcast.
Energy is love.
The Energy is Love podcast.
The podcast for the universe.
The Energy is Love podcast.
I don't know how I'm going to use that one.
I don't know.
That's one thing that's been nice is the little countdown, is it helps with the editing of it.
Does it really?
Yeah, because I can figure out when it's actually going to start rather than trying to guess.
Well, you know that when you go like this, that you're going to surprise me. So you know that's your countdown. It's
Hands
like
up.
hands down or three, or hands up
Here
or
we
three.
go. And
3,
2,
2, 1, and then you went go.
go.
So when your hands are up, 3.
It is the motherfucking 200th motherfucking episode of the Energy is Love podcast.
Streamers. Should I shake this and open it and like
Just
foam
champagne beer everywhere.
Yeah. You should.
Baby, I don't
Congratulations.
think to us.
Well, I haven't been here for 200.
Yes, you have. You've been here all along the way.
Well,
I told you recently something. Do you remember what I told you?
You've told me a lot of things. Do you realize how
I haven't. I've only told you one thing.
much that encompasses? There's no way I could guess that.
No, I've only told you one thing recently.
Well, that one.
And you forgot it. I can't believe it. It's disgraceful. No, I told you that you saved the podcast.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Yeah, you totally saved it. It was going to go away, and it wasn't going to be a thing. And I mean, that was going to be 100 episodes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you saved it.
You're welcome.
You came in and said, you know what? Let's do this.
That's not what happened.
No, but you've been the biggest support of the podcast literally from day one. I know I've told this story multiple times on the show, but you said, yeah, do that. I had the idea, came from the hanging out with Randy, and then I was like, oh, I think I should do this thing. I think this is a good idea. Or I don't even remember what I said, right? We're trying to remember a conversation that took place 4 years ago. But anyways, you were like, yeah, do that. And you have never stopped once supporting this show.
Can I tell you a part of that
Tell
that
me.
I haven't really said? I remember watching you and Randy record, and I was thinking, you should just do your own podcast. You should have your own. And then when you were like, I should, I'm like, yeah, you should do that.
You thought it?
I thought it. So when you said it,
You inceptioned me.
I inceptioned you. Maybe you inceptioned me.
I don't think so.
Well,
You have always inceptioned me. All the ideas that I'm like, I think I'm going to do this thing. You're like, yeah, do that. And you planted that idea.
we didn't discuss it.
I know. You
So
thought of it, and then you inceptioned it.
There's times that we have conversations that kind of go away, and then you're like, haha. This was
really
not
good
one of
idea,
those times.
You're like, yeah, we talked about that 3 days ago.
So I like supporting you.
I don't remember. It was started in May of 2016. And now here we are in July of 2020. So the first episode, I think, was released in May of 2016.
Man.
4 years later. It's amazing. It really is.
It is amazing.
It's an incredible accomplishment. 200 episodes of a podcast, right? And it's still here. It's still around. It's still strong. And we're growing. We're expanding. We're doing more stuff. Now we've got the cell phone set up on the tripod to talk into the cell phone.
You can see me when I'm scrolling.
What are you doing? You going back and looking?
I want to see the date.
May 16th, 23rd.
Close. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
A little bit more.
29th.
No, less.
Okay,
Should I just tell you? May 25th, 2016.
Episode 1.
Episode 1.
And this will be out on July something 2020. Wow. Yeah, July 6th. Maybe. I think it's July 6th when this episode's out. Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty exciting.
I'm excited for us.
Yes.
I'm excited for you.
I'm excited for both of us.
I tried to say us because you're like, it's ours, but I'm really excited for you. I'm really proud of you.
Look at who's fucking on the podcast. It's not.
Why can you not accept compliments?
I can accept compliments.
Can you?
Yes.
I'm really excited for you. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
You worked really hard,
Thank
and you
you.
still work tirelessly
Yeah.
on this continuously so much. You have upped it. You went from knowing nothing about other than listening to figuring out platforms and which devices you should use and how to edit and the software and this and that and this and that. And I remember phase 1, it was like a manic thing.
Phase 1
to
was
try and
definitely manic. It was a 2-week
It was crazy.
nightmare of trying to figure shit out.
That's how committed you are. And then you're so busy doing it. And then you decide video, and you're going to learn how to do all the video and all the editing with that. Well, I don't know, dude. Anyways, you do so much. No, I'm sorry.
Who would do it?
No, I mean, because you don't cut stuff. You don't cut stuff out of the audio really either.
No, I don't do that anymore.
So
very rarely will I ever pull anything.
Yeah.
Or edit things. And it's always like, I mean, if there is some crazy background noise, but even then it's like, I don't even care really anymore.
You won't edit out embarrassing things.
It's because there's never any embarrassing things
that is
on this show.
False. That is big false. I'm like, oh my God. I remember thinking, oh, it doesn't. I'm not gonna
It sounds like a funny story.
It's already, I feel like I've already told it.
So what?
Okay. I don't even remember. Oh, you know what? It's a funny story, but I don't want to get into too much detail. I was talking about massaging. Somebody said like they'd be afraid of farting or whatever while getting a massage.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that inhibits them from going and getting a massage, because what if they didn't shave their legs? Nobody cares. What if you fart? Like a lot of people do. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, everybody farts.
Like
it's a little known fact.
It's you get so really like it happens. It's not a big deal. So I was trying. I don't even remember what I was trying to say. I believe I was drunk at the time.
Nah.
Okay.
We don't ever get drunk on this show.
We don't. But I was shit-faced at the time.
On the podcast?
On the podcast.
Was it tequila colada?
It was, but I'm trying to not reference that.
Okay. Well, I'll edit that part out.
And I said farting on my clients.
Mm.
And you fucking left that. And I was so drunk, I didn't even know. And so when I listened to it after, and for one, I got teased by the other person that was in that podcast with me, because she was listening to it with her husband. He's like, oh my God, you have to pay extra for that. So you left something very embarrassing in.
Yeah,
there's that funny story.
I've left some very embarrassing things in here.
Yeah.
We've also talked about a lot of, I don't know, would you say we've talked about embarrassing things? I guess we probably have.
Not us.
We've talked about challenging things.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get lost too much.
I think I just like spit everywhere.
Well, you like spitting sometimes. Before we get lost too much in the sex podcast.
I'm embarrassed.
Episode 200, all the sex.
Okay.
Yeah,
can you see? Okay.
No, I put
good
the thing
because
down
I
in
just
the front.
I just uncrossed. I Sharon Stoned it without the same thing. So I just oh God.
Subscribe to our Patreon. Teasing, we don't have a Patreon.
I just got scared. You sent to the table. Hello.
Hold on.
I'm okay.
Before we get too down rabbit holes with the 200th episode of this show,
okay.
We have rebranded the website, and we've really rebranded
you say we.
We have.
You did it.
We have.
You are amazing.
Okay. We have rebranded the entire podcast because it's no longer what it was in the beginning. It has evolved. It has changed. It has grown, and now it is a podcast that you and I do together.
Yes.
That we create weekly, produce weekly, put out weekly, and it's also more about us than ever before.
True.
Even though we've started to have some guests come on. We've got a whole bunch of guests lined up for future episodes. Already in the can that I just have to go through and edit and will be released.
In the can?
Yeah.
Isn't that the toilet?
No.
I gotta hit the
That's
can.
the John. That's the John.
Well, you're amazing. I just
Hold
realized
on.
something. Oh, okay.
EnergyIsLovePodcast.com. It's a brand new website. Completely redesigned. Go check it out now. You can go find it on the internet. But there's links everywhere. Obviously, you can see it in the show notes. If you're on YouTube, you can find it there. Yeah. Go to the website and just check it out. That's all I ask. Just go check it out. I spent a long time trying to change it up and fix it and redesign it and put some more of us in there and some more information and a whole bunch of other things.
And it's amazing.
It is amazing. And we would love it if you went and checked it out. You can also support the podcast that you're so fond of, and it's really easy to do so. There's a whole page there. I think it's called support at the top, maybe. I have to remember. Maybe it's either support or donate. I think it's support I think I originally had it as donate, and then I like support better. Anyways, you can totally support the podcast because from day one, you know this. I don't know why I'm looking at you like I'm going to inform you of something.
Please.
You're aware of this.
I am.
We don't really make any money on the podcast.
Oh, yeah, I'm aware of that.
The podcast costs us money each month, and it has done that since the beginning.
Yeah.
And we've had sponsors over the years,
Mm-hmm.
and we're incredibly grateful for those sponsors. But
Very.
yeah, it costs just a little bit of money to do the podcast, and we would love any and all support. I have a Amazon wish list of shit that I want for this podcast.
You should do that and post it.
Post the wish list.
Yeah, there's this thing. I'm on this Facebook group, and that's what you do. It's like I haven't ever posted my wish list because, you know, I love that people do that,
Yeah.
but I just couldn't. So I see it, and I love watching people share back and forth. And we should do that. It's like the podcast registry. We should register.
We might do that in the future, but in the meantime,
And then cash is also helpful.
in the meantime, go send us some cash. You can support this show. It's really easy to do through PayPal. It can be a one-time thing of sending us $1 or $100, or you can have it be repeated every single month. So it's, if you want to donate $5 a month to the podcast, excuse me, we will take your money and we will put it right back into the show and use it to buy said equipment that Craig wants to purchase. So that's our quick episode. It's been wonderful. 200 episodes. We're done. Congratulations. Go to energyislovepodcast.com.
Bye.
Subscribe everywhere
Should I blow
podcasts
kisses?
are available.
Yeah, I'm going to do kisses for the
I
200th
like it.
episode.
You're so cute.
Oh, I'm embarrassed again.
So here we are.
I thought we were done.
No.
Was that a joke?
Yeah, that was
Okay.
a joke. That was a joke, folks. We're not done. Here we are.
Here we are.
What is the most
Hmm.
impactful thing? Like, you really have to think about this
Okay.
question stuff, because this is a serious question.
I feel a yawn.
Over the course of not just the 200 episodes or the 4 years that we've done the podcast, because before you were on the podcast every week, you listened every week, right?
I did. I was a faithful listener.
And
I don't know. Yeah.
what has been the most, not gratifying, but most like impactful thing that you have experienced as, you know, over the last 4 years of being a part of this podcast?
You won't like my answer. You'll shut it down.
That sounds like me. What is your?
I've liked watching you evolve with it.
Yeah.
I've liked watching you take it, have it be a piece of your ego at times to a piece of your heart. Just the way that you've built it and grown, let it grow and then grown with it, and just been so committed to it. I know that's a scary fucking word. We talk about that commitment, and we're like, but I've just loved watching the way you've grown with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a different man than when
You
I
are.
started the show.
You are.
A way different guy.
You
How am
sure?
I different, you think?
I don't know. I'm not answering that. I love you.
Anything else? Anything else that stands out as far
That
as
is the big one.
most impactful?
That is the most impactful. Is just that. Okay, I got another one, but I feel like this also doesn't. You're like answer your question, but it's what it is for me.
Maybe it's the whole question is what it is for you.
I feel like since I've joined, I have also grown with it. It has brought me out.
I agree.
So I think that's pretty cool. If anything, it's given us a platform to step out into us. I think that's a big spider. It's going up. If something touches me now, all hell's going to break loose.
In what ways do you feel like you have grown and evolved and expanded since coming on the show?
Well,
Did your brain just hear coming on the show?
Oh,
Go ahead. Pervert.
it's 201. We'll do that for the 300th episode. I'm scrolling out now. You grabbed your phone.
No, I'm looking because I wanted to look and see when we transitioned, and you
When we
started
transitioned?
being on every episode.
Well, I'd done like a couple in the beginning, but it
Mhm.
was just, I don't know. I was definitely very nervous and very unsure of I'm still unsure of myself. but it's in different levels now. I couldn't really speak very much. Didn't have a lot of throat. Oh, having to say no. You're gonna make it naughty.
I'm not going to make it
You're
naughty.
so gonna make it naughty. I was gonna say throat opening. So how are you not gonna make it naughty? I'm talking about chakras and energy, not.
Yeah, your throat is way more open than it ever has been before.
I feel like
It's not in a pervy way. It's in a real way. I mean, it is a pervy too. Like
I'm really uncomfortable. I'm like fidgety.
Are you?
all
You
over.
nervous?
And now they can see.
I know. They like it.
You see
People
when I'm
like
like,
watching.
Like I'll go start to rock myself.
We've gotten a lot of good feedback on the YouTubes.
Yeah.
People like it.
I've found parts of myself and then been able to say them out loud, even here. And more's coming. There's so much, just like all kinds of stuff.
There's
It's
more
gonna
coming?
More's coming.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
I'm not all
You're not
sunshine
done.
and roses either. It's like finding power in the things that you're not supposed to say, because I'm giving things a voice. So I don't know. I've kind of like found me through talking with you
And sharing with
and
them.
sharing with them. And
That's
now
cool.
I know it goes out and I'm not as scared.
Yeah.
And now it's recorded and I do paint on some eyebrows, but it's okay.
You look beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
You like dressed up for the 200th episode.
I was
And
actually just trying to wear shorts.
I did not. But guess what?
What?
I guess we're going to count this as kind of when the show transitioned,
Okay.
even though there was like one other episode, I think, where it was just me and some other guy that I interviewed. But it was the beginning, the very first episode of 2019.
Of 2019.
Yeah. So now it's been a year and a half
Okay.
of you being on the podcast.
Okay.
So almost half of the life of the podcast, you've been on the podcast.
Wow.
And
I didn't realize that.
it was episode 123.
Oh, I
Isn't
like
that cool?
number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fire Walking with Steph and Craig.
Oh, okay. I actually remember that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We sit down and discuss, surprise our lives in 2018. We talk about some of the adventures we had, some of the struggles, and Steph talks about her experience walking on fire. We also reveal the new question that every guest will be asked this
That's
year.
right.
Bum,
What
bum, bum.
form, can I say it?
Yeah.
What form of mental health did we say suffer from?
I don't know.
I think we said, you don't remember?
I don't think that was the question.
I think it was.
I think that was the question before the question.
Oh, fuck. Are you sure?
I don't remember.
We gotta go back and listen.
Yeah. Barb, let us know. Rabbit fan Barb. She'll know. She'll email us.
Yeah.
Actually, Barb, just text. You've got both of our numbers. Yeah, babe. What's that? 75 plus episodes ago?
So,
That's a lot. And now here we are.
here we are.
Episode 200.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been incredible. I mean, we could wax poetically about what it is and how it's been and how amazing it is. And some of the things that stand out to me are, I love just this moment right now. I love being able to just sit in our backyard and have a conversation with you. You and I, do you think the podcast has helped with our conversations outside of the podcast, or helped with our communication outside of the podcast? Do you think so?
Yeah. I didn't even have to wait for you to get the question out. Like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would agree. So if you're struggling in your marriage, start a podcast together.
Don't
Don't do that. It won't help. Trust me. It won't help at all. You can come on our podcast if you want. We started one for you. You can come talk on our podcast.
So do you think it's helped? Because you're like, don't start one, it won't help. So
No,
I think
it's
my
helped.
my feeling might be different than
It's helped
yours.
immensely. But I just had a flash of like a couple in like marriage trouble, right? Struggling.
Oh, do you
to,
think
like,
maybe
start a
the
podcast at that
husband would
point?
suggest they record a episode while they're fighting?
Yeah, that would be a terrible idea. Idiot husband.
Oh, not an husband.
No, I think that, yeah, I don't know. I think it's pretty magical. It's pretty wonderful. And I'm pretty grateful that we get
Yeah.
to do it.
Me too.
I like these little moments. I like having these conversations. I like where we go sometimes.
Mhm.
I like that we've gotten more diligent about it lately in like
Yeah.
the last few months, but excuse me, we hold stuff back from each other and save it for the podcast.
Sometimes.
Right. Sometimes.
Sometimes I get pissed off at that.
Yeah, it's frustrating. But I think that that's also like a good thing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
I think that has helped as well with our relationship and with our communication and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You're so paranoid about bugs right now.
Well, I saw a little spider going up. So
It's
I'm
Charlotte. It's Charlotte's Web.
I know, right? But no, thank you.
You're a fan of the
I know that spiders have power and like wicked energy, not wicked, but like wow. But no, I am not one with the arachnids. I am not. I don't handle that well. That's okay. Everybody's got their superpower. That is not mine.
What is your superpower?
Oh God. I don't know, but we talked about it too much. Now I'm getting itchy.
Because of the spiders?
Don't say that. The thought of Jesus. Stop.
What is your superpower?
What is my superpower?
Rather than you name your superpower.
To beat around the bush like a mofo.
Yes, you're very,
I
very
can
good.
divert. I can get asked direct questions and flip that shit on you. So you were talking about yourself and trying to figure out how the hell you started talking so much. And I'm like,
let's do each other's superpowers.
No.
I'm going to tell you yours and you can tell me mine. Is that okay?
Mm-mm.
Why?
Yes.
Okay, what would you like to do then?
I don't know.
Why'd you get all embarrassed?
I don't know.
You're so cute.
I'm legitimately embarrassed right now.
How come?
I don't know.
It's just us.
I just got it's not. I don't know why. I just got embarrassed.
That's okay.
You quit looking at it. You're making it bigger. That's what she said.
Oh, that is definitely what she said. I like it when she looks at it.
It does get okay.
It gets bigger. I'm
all itchy now.
You're not all bitchy now.
Itchy. Jesus.
You have an incredible ability that I would describe as a superpower to trying to think of a way to quantify it. Because you have a lot of superpowers.
As do you. Oh,
but you're innate, and I mean like literally innate. It's literally like breathing for you. You don't have to think about breathing.
Sometimes I
you do.
Sometimes I'm like, remember.
But your innate ability to connect with and work with energy is a superpower.
Thank you.
And your ability to read a situation, your ability to... I have never met another person. This might sound like it's not a superpower, but I really, really think it is a superpower. And it's one that I think you've had for a long time, like far before this lifetime. Your ability to move through not even difficult times, but you just will not stop. Even when everybody else has quit, when everybody else has given up, when everybody else has stopped, you do not stop and you continue on. You are like the strongest woman that I've ever met or known. That's a pretty big superpower.
Thank you.
You're
You made
welcome.
me feel really special. Thank you.
You're welcome. You are very special. Now do me.
All right.
Just
Happy
one.
200. Just one?
Yeah, don't wax poetically about all my superpowers.
Hypocrite. Okay. What's that face? What's that face?
Hippocrates.
That's
Hippocrates.
Hippocrates. It's the Hippocrates. I think one, because I can only say one of your superpower. I don't think I know one of your superpowers is you can hear. It's like you speak soul language. You can hear what the soul of a person is saying. It doesn't matter what their mouth's doing. It doesn't matter what their body's doing. It's like you can somehow see through all of that and hear and tap into their soul speak and know what they need exactly at that time and what they need to say, what they need to hear, how to just like really look in and see a person. And that is as terrifying as that can be, there is no more liberating feeling than to truly be seen, to have your soul seen. So you're very, 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 and again, I think that's something that you have just always had.
That's really, really sweet. I would not have guessed that that's what you were going to say. I would not guess that about myself. That's not what I would describe. And I'm kind of having a hard time. It's not that I don't believe you. I'm not like, oh, there she goes again, blowing sweet smoke up my ass.
You don't see that?
I don't see that.
Okay.
I'm not doubting it. I'm not like you're wrong by any means.
Well, I'm not
right?
wrong.
No, I mean, yeah, you see me, right? You see me better and clearer, and you know me more than anybody else.
I've seen this, what I just described in you. I'm not just talking about our conversations.
Yeah.
I have seen you do this with person after person after person after person after person after person. So.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. I don't care if you believe it or not. You're going to start noticing it now, and you're going to hear it, and you're going to be like, oh, you're the soul whisperer.
Dun, dun, dun.
Maybe it's anyways.
It's a cool thing.
It's a cool thing.
I'm not minimizing it.
I know you're not. I just wish you could.
Or the plane. That's so funny.
Do you feel it's slower then?
It
like
is,
it's
yeah.
like way like
It's not a
commercial
normal,
airlines are usually not that low.
That's not a commercial.
It's not.
No, it is a commercial airline, but it's not a normal path either.
It's
they
not
usually don't fly over a house like that. That's okay.
It's okay. They're holding strong.
Hang in there. I had something else that was coming to my mind that I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Oh, do you have any recollection? I don't, so don't feel bad if you don't.
Okay, cool.
But do you have any recollection of some of the other names that we kicked around at the beginning when we were coming up with names for this?
Of the Energy is Love?
Yeah, because it totally wasn't just like, bam, we shall call it the Energy is Love podcast.
I didn't really get to be part of that process too much, so I don't remember any.
Okay, you make it sound like nobody was part of that process other than me. But I definitely
hence.
But I definitely bounced ideas off of you.
Yeah.
And would be like, what do you think of this? What do you think of that?
Well, I don't remember any of those.
I don't either.
You were also you might have thought you said it.
I was a dick.
Oh God, that's not what I was pointing at.
Well, I'm not talking about the beginning of the podcast and me being a jerk about stuff, but like you and I have gone through, you mentioned this last night. We were laying in bed. And you mentioned how there have been phases to our relationship and how you can like break it up into like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, right?
I don't know where I get that lingo.
Are you talking about me?
No.
Who are you talking about?
I didn't.
But in phase 1, I mean, that's like the courting phase, right? That was our courtship. I was a pretty amazing guy during phase 1.
Yeah.
And then in phase 2...
You were like... untiring too. You were
unwavering.
Unwavering. There you go. Unwavering. You were, and I thanked you.
Yeah, you did thank me.
You were naughty.
What?
Nothing.
That's what you meant, right?
I did, but then you said you did thank me, and oh no, that's not what I meant.
What did you mean?
I meant I just recently thanked you. I'm like, thanks for not giving up. Thanks for trying. Thanks for.
I was thinking about all the blowjobs. You're so cute. I don't know why you're so embarrassed this episode.
I don't know either.
No, but phase 1, I was a super sweet gentleman, right? And
definitely didn't call me out on the blowjobs.
It's because you were too busy blowing.
My God.
I'm teasing.
Stop it. Stop it.
Phase 2 was when you got to see, I don't know, how would we break it apart? Like,
I don't know.
I don't feel like immediately in phase 2 I turned into an asshole. I think it was somewhere around the transition from phase 2 to phase 3.
You think?
What do you think?
I don't know. I'm really uncomfortable and embarrassed.
Why?
Well, you just made me. I don't know why I'm so fucking embarrassed this episode. I don't know.
You're very, very blushy.
Am I blushing?
Uh-huh. I love when you still do that.
What?
You do that thing where you stop talking and make faces at me. You used to do that all the time on the show, like before we started recording it, doing a video recording. You'd be like, oh, and then you like pull away from the microphone and make faces like, shh, they can't hear what my face is doing. Now you're fucked. Now they can see it all.
I can't stop it.
Yeah.
My face, I can't help what my face does.
It's so cute,
My
though.
face tells you what I'm thinking and feeling. And
But how
sometimes
did we manage to get through like phase 3? In which phase are we in now? Are we in 4 or 5?
I don't fucking know. I'll tell you when we're 2 phases out. Hopefully it's still good. Hopefully it keeps getting better because we just keep getting better.
Yeah, but like phase 2 and 3 was rough.
I feel like I'm more aware of that. I'm aware of that.
How did we survive?
Well, like you said, I don't quit.
Very, very accurate. Very, very accurate. You could have many, many times over.
Mm-hmm. We both could have.
You could have justifiably quit. And it would have been justified.
Yeah.
Yep. But you chose not to. And that has made all the difference. So we could I keep saying wax poetically.
I know. I'm just like karate kidding it over here. That's all I can hear.
Karate kidding?
Karate kidding it.
Wax on, wax off. You're cute. Yeah, we could sit here and talk about our love and our
that's what they come for.
That is what they come for.
I love you more.
I love you, you dork. I know you had some topics.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not feeling those, obviously we got plenty
They're
of other episodes.
They're going to come up, but not right now.
We're going to get to talk about stuff.
Yeah.
This morning when I woke up, I actually had a reminder in my head of something that I wanted to mention. It's gone now, right? That's gone. That was this morning. Yeah, it's over 1 million podcasts are out there right now. So if you're listening to this podcast, and if you've been a fan of this podcast, thank you. Because there's a lot to choose from. And we try hard.
Yes.
To create, produce good quality shows for you to enjoy. I don't know what else, babe. What else?
You gonna cut that out, or you gonna let that stay?
Your little burp?
I'm
gonna definitely leave it in. Yeah.
Are you seriously done? Like, what is this? 20 minutes in?
I'm not done by any means.
You can't remember the thing.
Thinking like what I want to talk about, because I don't want to. I mean, it's amazing, right? We've done 200 episodes of the podcast, and a lot of the podcasts that were around when I started. I shouldn't say that but a lot of the people that I started to associate with and stuff like that in the podcasting realm, they're no longer doing podcasts. They're gone. They're done, right? It's hard. People don't think about how hard it is.
Yeah.
It's a definite commitment.
We're not the only ones afraid of that word.
I'm not afraid of that word.
I was just getting ready to be like, bullshit, liar, liar.
Yeah, it's hard. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's been worth it, though.
You, like, that also brings me to a point that I was going to say earlier when you're like, hold on, before we get to going down rabbit holes. You keep saying we put all this work into, we produce, we. I'm like, we do not do that. We sit down and record. And then the you, like, you need to let me do something. What do you feel confident? I know you're like nothing because you don't have control issues. It's okay. Is there anything that you feel confident?
If you're only listening to this podcast and you're not watching it on YouTube, you're missing out, because there is lots of things that are very, very clear when you're watching that do not transfer over when you're listening. But go ahead.
Is that why you started recording it? Because I speak way more with my motion, my body language, with my hands.
You speak in paragraphs with your body.
See?
Yeah.
I forgot
what else what do you want to take over?
What can you somehow see? Look at that. He's like, oh God, my body hurts. I can't do it. What do you think you could handle just sharing the reins with a little? You don't have to hide yourself. Jesus. Can you see?
I've got it.
I really hope that they can see this, because what you just said. What?
First off,
you did this and then you did that. You're like, oh God.
Well, I don't want to come off as a dick, right? But I mean, I have 100% confidence that you could take over like the audio editing of the show, right? Okay. I could show you how to do it, and you'd go through the learning curve just like I did, and then you'd be just fine.
There would be no technical issues, yes.
But why, right? There's no reason for that.
Because you don't work so hard.
Yeah, but I mean, I've got it down to a science now.
Okay.
I can not even think about it.
Okay.
Right? It still takes time. Each episode takes me, now with the addition of video,
Mm-hmm.
that didn't add a whole bunch of production time on the, post-production, but each episode, so if we record an hour-long episode, I spend probably 3 to 4 hours working on that individual
Mhm.
episode.
You do. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So that's your niche, right?
Hold on, I've
You're
got
good
some
with-
things.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I really want to like throw some other things out there.
Go ahead,
though.
throw them out.
Okay. So understandably, that's your niche. We've talked about my technical issues, that sometimes things don't work around me.
Yeah.
Sometimes I drop things. Sometimes anyways. And you like doing that because you're good at it. And you
Yeah.
like, it's the creation process that you like.
I do like that part.
You won't even let me put up a table or tablecloths.
Okay.
I go to break down the mics and you're like, I got that. You won't even let me like take the mic off the stand.
What is the point of this? Are we just pointing out how Craig is anal? That's done. They can obviously hear that on episode 1 through 199.
I just wanna
I'm teasing.
I just wanna earn a little bit of my own. Like you're like, we do this, and I feel like, no, we don't.
Well, we need more content for the website.
Okay.
So right away,
Right.
Yep.
You want me to write?
give us some more blogs.
Do you know what's really fucked up?
Hmm.
I feel like you've already asked me that, and I was like,
I may have at some point. That may have been something.
right away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Write up some stuff for the podcast or for
Okay.
the website. Because
Okay.
we can definitely add some more
Okay.
content there.
Okay.
Also,
I'll do it.
go find us some fucking people to talk to.
I feel like every time I've suggested somebody, you're
That's
like,
not true. I mean, that's true sometimes.
Kind of.
But yeah, just find people, take that over. Fucking find some guests that you want to talk to.
That's going to be really hard
Why?
because I just told you, I am used to talking to you,
Yes.
but as you shall see, and you have seen, there's a couple, when there's a guest on, I can't talk. It is so hard for me.
Yeah, but that just takes practice. I told you that. You're already getting better.
And then I'll get so involved in just like listening and feeling what's going on that it's like, oh wait, hold on. I've got to interject myself into this conversation so I can have some screen time.
That's one thing that I had to really, really work on, because I would do the same thing where I wouldn't talk,
Yeah.
and then the conversations would lag and then they wouldn't go anywhere. And then it was really painful. And then it was just like a Q&A session of here's 10 questions. Give me your 10 responses, right? Nobody wants to listen to that podcast.
Yeah.
So you have to share, you have to interject, you have to tell your thoughts, your ideas, your feelings, your emotions.
Yeah.
That's what's good.
It's so hard.
But you're so good at it with me.
It's we've
Like,
had
it was-
some practice.
We've had,
77 episodes?
yeah, you've had lots of practice. It's the same
Not-
thing with guests coming on.
Well, maybe after we've interviewed 77 people together, I'll be like, I feel like maybe I can do this now.
But
I've
that
been
is,
able to. That'll be my next growth thing on the podcast. I can now talk to other people too.
that is something that you could definitely take over.
The what?
The finding of guests. Reach
Okay.
out, talk to them,
Okay.
set up the, schedule the stuff.
Set up the schedule of the stuff.
think
The
about
thing
this.
that I can't. That I
Think
can do
about
it.
this. Think of the things that you want to talk about and the people that you want to talk to, and that's who you reach out to. That's
Okay.
all I've ever done.
Okay.
So do that.
Okay.
And the sky's the limit.
Fuck.
Think of the amazing people that we've had an opportunity to talk to on this show.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
You wanted something to take over.
Fuck. Well, I meant
We got
something.
the audio editing down. We got the video editing down.
No, we don't. I wanted some technical responsibilities, not. Fuck. All right. I can do it. I told you to give me some stuff. I
They're
can do
all
it.
parts of the show. They're all parts of this podcast that we have to do in order to
Episode 201, Brene Brown.
let's push it out a little bit.
I can do it.
We've already got episode 201 done.
Shit.
It's in the can.
Okay.
It's already been edited.
Right,
and
you
ready
gotta
for
you gotta
release.
quit saying can. All I hear is bathroom.
That's literally the term. It's in the can.
It's in the can? Are you
Yeah.
serious?
Yeah.
This is why you don't give me jobs. Okay, episode 202 is already done.
301.
301? I feel like I can get Brene before that. Please don't charge us. I can't pay.
She doesn't charge for her. Well, that's not true.
She's kind of a big deal now.
Now? She's
Well,
been a big deal for a while.
Well, a while, but I'm pretty sure she's not gonna jump on a plane. She's also an introvert, and it's hard for her to do this. I don't think she's going to come hang out with us in our backyard and record a podcast. Yeah, if Brene says yes, we'll find a way to get to Texas.
We can do a pod swap. That's not what they're called. Swapcast. That's what they're called.
I was like, is that like Cocoon, like alien people, pod people?
I was chatting with some guy who...
Seriously, though.
Okay.
Brene Brown.
Putting it out there.
Oh, my God.
She's got her own podcast.
Oh,
we'll
my
be
God.
on your show, Brene.
Oh, my God.
We can tell you a thing or two about podcasting.
He's funny.
We totally could. Yeah. You have more experience podcasting than Brene does.
I feel like that's blasphemy. Let you know who you're talking about.
You're so funny.
Okay, you were talking to this guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's got I don't know if he's got a podcast or he's starting a podcast.
Okay.
But he travels around in his van sometimes, so he's not stationary.
Look at that.
So I might come to Utah and we'll do a pod swap.
Okay.
And this was all via like Instagram messaging.
You said it's cast swap.
It's Swapcast.
Oh, Swapcast.
Is the terminology that is correct in the realm of
and you
podcasting.
said you'll do a pod swap. Okay.
I said we'd do a pod swap. And then like 2 days later, I'm like...
Son of a bitch.
Fuck, that's totally not what it's called. I'm like, well, that's never happening. He's going to be like, what the fuck's a pod swap? That sounds very weird.
Is that a sexual term?
That's what it sounds like. Hey, do you want a pod swap?
Come to Utah.
We'll pod swap.
Did he ever respond?
Yeah. I think with like a thumbs up or something like that. I don't know. Maybe he's down for the swapping of the pods. But a swapcast.
Do you remember who it is?
Yeah, I know who it is.
Well, I don't know.
It wasn't just a stranger. I was having a conversation.
God, you have talked to a lot of people.
He's somebody that I know.
Oh, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I know him?
No, I don't know him well. I met him at an Everyman event. Okay. His name's Joe Hawley. So shout out to Joe.
Hey.
He's a former NFL player.
Oh,
who,
wow.
I don't know the entire
Who do you
story.
play for?
Don't know that because I don't know football.
Okay.
But yeah, he's a cool guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does a lot of cool stuff.
Okay.
Anyways, Swapcast is when you appear on each other's podcast and or do one episode with both of you that you just simply release on both of your platforms.
So like you and Leanne, Swapcast it.
Yes. Yeah.
Leanne Kreischer, shameless plug.
You were on that episode?
I was on hers.
Yes.
She let me be on hers. You didn't let me be on hers. But Leanne's like, well, I want you on mine. Like,
see, okay. I think that was towards the end of phase 3, where your husband was still kind of an ass. But
do you think
he's gotten better?
I have a question.
I have an answer.
Do you think the change came when I kind of just... Because I kind of went through some shit at that end, at the end of phase 3, whatever. Like I kind of started shaking things up a little bit in my own life and being very
vocal,
and just kind of being like, all right, I'm going to start doing my thing.
Okay.
You decide what you're going to do.
Are you talking to me?
Okay, this is not the episode for this. Yeah. Like, I'm looking at you and talking. What the
I understand.
Who would I be talking to?
No, I thought
Jesus.
that your statement of...
we're done. We're not going to talk about it on the podcast.
Why?
Because, ladies and gentlemen...
I thought your statement was like a rhetorical thing where you started...
Why the fuck would you think it was a rhetorical question when I said I have a...
Not a rhetorical
I am way
question.
too close to my period to have this conversation.
Talk about it.
Because I go from, oh, I love you, to like...
Don't mention her name.
Like the horns start to come out.
I was teasing Steph last night, folks.
I think,
I referenced her period as
get this,
Lord Voldemort. He who
it
should
went
not
over
be named.
well.
But instead I referred to her as she who shall not be named.
He's so cute, huh?
Yeah, it did not end well. And it's not over, by the way.
It hasn't even started yet, sweetheart.
Right, I know. This is the last episode of the podcast. So
sometimes I get a little emotional.
And you have every right to do so.
Thank you.
Every single right to do so.
Sometimes I get just a little bit. It's a lot. Sometimes it's a lot. Sometimes it's a little.
We're going
He's
to...
panicking. This is panic.
This isn't panic.
This is panic.
We're actually going to shift a little bit.
We're going to shift? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of panicking now.
Okay.
Like, I'm afraid for you.
For me?
Because you pissed her off. I'm just kidding.
She who
She,
not-
see, he
she not.
stuttered. She. It's not panic. She.
We called her Voldemort. It's period Voldemort. No, wait. What would be a good name for her?
Voldemort. Yeah, go ahead.
That's terrible. We're so fucked. We're fucked, folks. I'm screwed. No, I think it was last night when you and I were talking,
Okay.
and you talked about how I had a mind shift in the way that I saw things, in the way that I questioned things, in the way that I looked at things a few years back in regards to like the Me Too movement and everything that women have gone through and experienced and continue to experience. And we were kind of talking in conjunction with Black Lives Matter and everything else that's going on right now in regards to like defunding the police and racism and everything else and all the current stuff that we're talking about on the podcast and are going to continue to talk about on the podcast.
Yeah.
And hint, hint, folks, we have many more guests coming up that's going to be the topic of conversation. But you had me thinking about that process of shifting, like, not just your thoughts, but it feels so weird. I'm trying to think of a way to give it the weight that it's due, because it's a big thing.
Okay.
But also not make it seem like it's the most incredible thing in the entire world, especially around these two topics, right? Women's rights and the suffrage of women and all the different things, as well as, racism. I mean, obviously I should have pulled my head out of my ass a long time ago. So I'm not minimizing. It's not like I have accomplished the greatest thing in the entire world by simply opening up my eyes.
I think it's pretty fucking great myself.
But what I'm talking about is the act of the change that takes place, that actual literal process that goes on inside of your body and inside of your heart and your mind and your soul, where your perspective and the way that you see the world actually shifts.
Yeah.
That's a weird feeling.
Yeah.
That's a unique thing. And I don't think that happens. I wish that happened more.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I wish that it not only happened more for myself, but I wish it happened more in society, for people, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because undoubtedly there is stuff that, do you know what I mean? Things right now that I could definitely use a perspective shift and change on. And I'm not even just talking about a perspective. I'm talking about like literal eye-opening. You see things differently than you have ever seen them before. That's huge.
Yeah.
Can you think of any for you personally? That you've kind of, it doesn't have to be like in the last week or 2 weeks.
Well,
or
I
month
absolutely can.
I know all of this racism and the Black Lives. I know all of that stuff has been very impactful for you. So you understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But prior to that.
Okay. First of all, I have to back you up a bit.
See, it's good interview skill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Going back to the beginning of what the fuck they were talking about and bringing it forward.
Okay.
So you're kind of recapping. And,
trying to.
well, you got to learn how to tell the fucker to shut the fuck up.
I was trying to. Just kidding. You're talking about that weird feeling, that process. And I think what that is, and it's many things, right? It's going to be multifaceted. Hopefully I said that right, because I like to create words. I think one of the biggest components is willing to be wrong. You have to be willing to be wrong. And just when that little spark comes in, instead of like resisting that, no, and what I hold true, willing to be wrong and willing to just be willing to change and be willing to.
You're okay.
Freaking was loud. Be willing to do better. Instead of like you have to have faults. Nobody likes to admit that they're wrong.
What if we look at it in a different way, where I like it. I think I agree. You have to be willing to be wrong. Yeah. But I can hear the people out there that are like, I'm not wrong.
Exactly. My point.
So what if you just have to be curious?
Curious is beautiful. That is it's a more user friendly.
Right.
It's not such an attacking word. There was something that I read that I wanted to kind of share in that. So I like your curiosity, because this is going to kind of pull this out. Is accountability feels like an attack when you're not ready to acknowledge how your behavior harms others.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So you have to be willing to be curious.
I think that's what we're seeing right now.
Yeah.
Accountability feels like an attack. I think so often about the people that I know in my life who I love and care about dearly and greatly, who are still adamantly defending Blue Lives Matter.
Me
and
too.
who are like, police need our support and we need to do rallies for the police officers and all of those things that are going on, which I don't have a problem with.
I'm not against it.
The problem that I have is that their unwillingness to simply look at something different. Their unwillingness to actually like stop and look and say, okay, like if I have to see another fucking meme about, I think Black Lives Matter and Cops Lives Matter, who has the balls to post this on their fucking page?
Oh my God.
If I have to see something else like that.
If you have participated in any of these protests or anything, you just unfriend me now.
Yeah. So, like, that's the thing that I wish we could just immediately fix, right? Where nobody's attacking you.
Okay.
Me saying Black Lives Matter, or me calling out police officers, or me addressing, like, the white systemic racism that exists in this country and the country was founded on. Like, go back to the fucking colonies, the 13 original colonies. Like, to think that this country was founded by, like, because we all know the stories of, like, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, and the people that fled for religious persecution and came to this country, right? Everybody knows the story of the Pilgrims to some extent. Like, I 100% guarantee you that story's wrong in some way, shape, or form. Or it's embellished, or they're leaving out massive swaths of information there that are very, very pertinent, important, that are very important. But from day one, white people have done nothing but fuck other people up. From day one, we have done nothing but try to take what isn't ours.
I haven't tried. It's been done from day one.
And make it ours. And we're still doing that. It hasn't changed. It's not like we've suddenly become more enlightened and we're no longer doing that. We are literally continuing to do that across the board. And it is no different than what we did to Native Americans when we first came here. It's no different than what we did to Black people when we went to Africa and put them on boats and dragged them over here against their will. It's literally the exact same thing. White people take what is not theirs and leave behind a trail of destruction and sadness and heartache and murder and just villainous fucking behavior. And then we write history so that we turn out to be the good guys. Oh, fuck no.
Yeah, agreed. All of that.
I don't know where I got lost on that tangent.
I got lost with you.
I don't remember what we were talking about before, but...
I guess all the things where people are saying...
The shift in perspective.
Yes. I still do not want to see officers hurt. I'm still grateful that there are officers, that there's police, that there's somebody that you can at least call. And that, I realize, saying that is acknowledging the privilege that I have, the white privilege that I have, because there's a lot of things that people aren't allowed to call on. I'm not saying I don't want pain. I don't want death. I don't want officers to be attacked. I don't want anybody to be attacked. But sorry. Black lives have to matter. And that should not be an argument. I mean, if you really think about what we're saying here, Black lives matter and trying to fight for that, how disgusting is it that is something that we have to fight for? Like, how is that not just a thing? How is it not understood? How is it even a thing that we're saying this human, we have to fight for their right to matter because of the color of their skin? It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Yeah, it's.
But because we have to fight for it.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
You're okay. What are you apologizing for? Babe?
Because it takes me a while to get to where I'm going, and that drives you crazy. And it doesn't
drive me
make for a good
crazy at all.
podcast when you have to wait 5 minutes for me to get my point.
5 minutes?
Shut up.
I would love
Okay,
it if we
shut
had to wait
up.
for 5
Jesus.
minutes. We are now 55 minutes into this episode. I'm teasing you. Takes us both sometimes a while to get to where we're going.
Okay. My shift of perspective has been continued throughout the years where I thought I knew what I knew. And I grew up with on a military base with a ex-military, ex-law enforcement father. And my mom was a military child. And then grew up on a military base in a small, I was very
rural white Utah.
very, very, very America. I was very, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to, I've had a lot of change of perspectives over the years. I did not know that for a very, very, very long time. And as much as I've learned in the last little while, just completely obliterates the number of how much I relearned after getting out of school and getting on my own. I've learned more in these last little bit than I have in my entire life. But I relearned a lot of things from growing up on what I thought was fact. What I thought, oh my God, there was so much pride in white people, white men, our founders, everything. It was hero. America was the best. There was everybody just hated America because we were,
better than everybody else.
Because we were free and we allowed people to think for themselves and speak for themselves, and we treated everybody equally. I wrapped up, and I believed that through and through. And it is crushing to learn that that's not the case. All the things that I had to learn, and it sucked. So there's been many, many change of perspectives. Where it's oh, that's not true. Oh, no, that's not true. And there's still conversations that I can't have with my family. I can with some of them, but I can't. The way I feel completely, I can't have that conversation with a lot of my family.
You choose not to. It's not a matter of you can't have it, right?
It turns into a battle. It turns into a battle of will. Who's right? And if you're coming at somebody with a battle of will that is so fucking stubborn, they are never going to change, be willing to be curious about another perspective.
Right.
It is just going to be heels dug in. I am right. I'm not going to be wrong. I am not the bad person. I am not. They will not change. They will not step back and go, oh. And then what's the point? Because what needs to happen? People have to get curious. They have to be willing to be wrong for a minute and be oh. Oh, okay. I need to dig into that. I didn't think racism, I knew it was a thing. I knew there was racists. I'm not blind. I knew there was racists. I had no idea that this country was so, I didn't realize that nothing had really changed.
Yeah.
That it was still so predominantly racist, and that they just came up with other ways to continue slavery, and that segregation was still a thing, and that it was so systemic throughout the country. I didn't know. And I know the moment I knew, and it was, I wish it was sooner. I've learned so much and how this has continued on, but I did not know until watching the video of George Floyd's murder and hearing him call for his mom. And in that moment, what went through my head and seeing that shifted me. That shifted when I had the thought go through my head that, this is going to be hard to say, but the reaction thought was, I'm glad my son is white. And as soon as that thought went through my head, I knew that I had gratitude in that moment, because he wasn't going to be hunted and murdered based off the color of his skin. And then that was oh my God, this is their norm. This is the norm. And everything shifted. And I just feel not only did it unite people around the world, but I feel like it united mothers.
Yeah.
It united mothers of every race, every color. Because when you hear somebody calling for their mom and you're watching them be murdered, you're willing to start taking on some people to save that person. You're willing to change the way you think. You're willing to make some noise, and you're willing to learn and do things differently, because nobody should be murdered. No child should be murdered. He's calling for his dead mom. It calls to all moms. That was my change. I wasn't, good job. Like what we heard before, I wasn't a racist before. Good job. I wasn't a racist. I didn't see color. Good job. I didn't realize how damaging it was to not see color. I didn't realize that they were being invisible. And now we know it's more to be
Ignorance, right?
ignorance. So you have to be willing to be wrong. I was fucking wrong.
Yeah. We had both been raised, grown up, lived in, took upon repeated cycles of just a blanket of ignorance to so many different things.
Yeah.
And it was, it's like a blanket of ignorance of safety as well.
It
Like,
is.
Do you know what I mean?
It's
Just this comforting little safe space of everything's all right and it's not that bad out there. And this is where there's still a part of me inside that is like there's a part of me inside, babe, that is, I mean, it's the part that's, it's the part that is, I think the energy is love. The name of this podcast is a really good name. And I remember when I decided to name it that. And I'm like, that's good. I had that for a long time. Well, not for a long time, but there's a part of me that even though the world is an ugly place full of ugly things and difficult, shitty things and terrible things and things that need to change now, not next year or not 50 years from now, they need to change now. It's still a really neat place to be. It's still a really good place to be. And it's not a great place. And it's not a perfect place. And it's not a good place for everybody.
That is true.
But it's still a very cool experience to be alive and to be in this matrix of a fucking experience, this world. But yeah, there's a part of me that is like, for all the terrible things that are happening right now and all the things that we've seen and all the stuff that is being thrown up on the screen for everybody to witness and watch, like in person right now, right? Live as it's happening almost. There's also so many good things. Right?
Yeah.
And it's not like we have to forget about all, it's like, oh, like just forget about all this stuff. It's really just all about love. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that in the slightest. But it still doesn't hurt to remember that, I mean, at the end of the day, I base my life off of a very few kind of principles. I don't know where I'm going to go with this.
Can you tell us the principles?
That's a great idea. I try to be a good person. I try to do that first and foremost with the people that I love and care about. And I try to extend that out to everybody that I meet and everybody that I come into contact with. I also try to help when I can. I think connection is the part of our existence that is just as important as food and water and shelter. And I think the more that we can connect with each other and with other people, not just the ones that we love that are in our family and the ones that are directly around us, but with each and every single fucking person that you come into contact with, the more that you can connect with them, I think the better off not just you as an individual person are going to be, but we as a whole are going to be, because I think connection is just as important as those other things that we need for survival. So that is what I try to do. I feel very silly right now, like I'm up on some big soapbox of these are the principles of Craig and they need to be lived by and abided by in order for a happy world. That's not what I'm saying.
There's no room for soapbox on this podcast.
This whole fucking podcast is a soapbox. Yeah, I'm getting, like I said, I'm getting pretty fucking fed up with people that are holding on to, like, it feels like they're holding on to dead stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Elaborate.
Fucking white people that are holding on to ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's dead. Why are you holding on to ignorance anymore? Like the facts are in, turns out you're ignorant, right? The curtain has been pulled back, turns out ignorance lied back there. That's where all the ignorance was hidden behind the curtain. And now we can see it. So why are we continuing to hold on to ignorance, right? Just stop with your fucking rhetoric over things. Stop with your argument that makes no sense except to you and other fucking ignorant people. And just ask yourself, how could I be curious about somebody else's experience? That's all you have to ask. It might be your white fucking neighbor. They don't live the same life that you live, right? Not every single person on the planet thinks the same way that you think. Even the people that think the same way that you think about whatever the topic might be, I guarantee they don't think that way about everything. Just ask yourself, how can I be curious about the person that lives next door to me? How can I see their life through their eyes and through their experiences? And then just slowly expand that outwards. How can I be curious about the fucking person at the grocery store? About the person that I pass in traffic? Maybe the person that tailgates me until I change lanes. Rather than be pissed off at that person, be curious about what they're fucking experiencing. Maybe there's a reason they're going fucking fast. Maybe there's a reason that they're an asshole. Just start asking yourself, rather than how can I reiterate and protect myself in my ignorance blanket of stupidity. It's not stupidity. Although there are some very stupid thoughts out there. I have a hard time. I don't want to get lost in the rhetoric of you're an idiot and you need to change, because then people are just going to be defensive. But rather than look for ways to reinforce your ignorance and reinforce what you believe is right, just simply question, right? And it takes nothing. That's the part that's so frustrating. It takes nothing. Nobody's knocking on your door charging you. It's not expensive. It literally takes nothing. It doesn't hurt you physically. You're not at risk of dying. Nobody is threatening your life and putting a gun to your head. It literally takes nothing to just ask yourself the simple questions of, how can I see this circumstance or this situation from a different perspective? Rather than looking at it from the same fucking perspective that your ignorant fucking parents looked at it from, and their parents looked at it from, and their parents, and so on and so forth. The idea that somehow you are clean and that you aren't guilty of something, you are. I was. We are still guilty of ignorance. I need to open up my eyes even more to see more things, to be more clear. I know I'm still ignorant on things and on topics. And it hurts to change your mind, and it hurts to open up your perspective. But holy fuck. Just imagine a fucking world where white people were fucking murdered. Imagine a world where George Floyd was white, and you were watching another white man murdered by police officers. How would that fucking feel? You would be so fucking numb to that shit at this point, I can only imagine. And so fucking fed up. Just imagine that world. It's a fucking shitstorm nightmare. Nobody wants to live in that world. Well, we do live in that world. That's where we're at today. That's what America is. Okay. I don't know. Episode 200, Energy's Love Podcast. At the beginning, you said that you liked how I have evolved.
Yeah.
You've witnessed and seen the change over the years with this podcast.
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah. I know.
So many different ways.
I know.
Go back and listen to episode 1, folks, if you haven't. Or better yet, listen to like episode 20 or something like that. It's just so different today than it was back then. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that it still exists. I'm grateful that we still have this podcast that we do. I'm grateful that you and I get to sit up in our backyard with our little, shoestring budget technical equipment that gets the job done,
Gets the job done.
and we're able to produce and create wonderful, amazing episodes. I'm so grateful for it. But I don't know, babe. You got anything else?
Not after that. That's
Okay.
beautiful.
Well, folks, thank you, every single person that has ever listened to this podcast over the past 4 years. Thank you to every single guest that's ever been on this podcast. Thank you to the neighbors' fucking dogs in the backyard that drive us nuts. Hopefully one day, well, one day those dogs won't be there.
They'll just bring them in when we record.
That would be great, neighbors.
And in the middle of the night.
God, and 4 a.m. Anyways, thank you for tuning in, listening, and supporting the podcast all of these years. If you haven't yet, maybe this is your very first fucking episode. You never know.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You're welcome. Go subscribe somewhere. Go watch us on YouTube. Go share it. That's the only thing that we really ever ask of anybody that tunes in, is just share the fucking podcast with somebody. Thank you very much. And go to the website and give us money. For God's sakes. Let us buy some new headphones. These headphones are the original headphones from 4 years ago. They still work and they're wonderful and they're great.
Yeah.
But yeah, we could definitely use some new headphones, some new microphones, a fucking video camera instead of a cell phone that's 5 years old.
This is how we do it.
This is how we do it. And
This
we'll
is how we
continue to do
do
it for another
it.
200 episodes. 1,000 episodes. Nothing seems too crazy now.
Yeah.
I remember when I started it, I was like, oh my God, there's just no way. No way. It's crazy. How are we going to do this week after week after week? And here we are, 4 years
Here we
later,
are.
200 episodes.
All right.
So I love you so much, Stephanie.
I love you.
I love you.
I love you.
I love everything about you, and I love everything that you've done for me. And I'm so grateful that I know you. Wave goodbye.
I kiss you.